I don't see the what's his name? I don't see
Kirk Cousins.
I don't see Kirk Cousins pulling it out this time. Wow.
He won't like that.
I sure hope not. I think the FCC would be all over that.
I don't think I see it.
I didn't even think about it. Pulling it off.
Man, we just got pulling it out. Wow. Well, I think we just got the name of the pod this week. I don't think I see Kirk Cousins pulling it out.
Oh, man.
Everybody hold on to your butts.
Hey, everybody. This is Living in Fiction Fantasy Football Podcast. With me, as always, I have my boy Arthur.
What's up?
And I got my boy Daniel.
Hello there.
So we are in week one.
Woo! We made it, guys.
We made it to week one,
y'all.
guys.
Finally.
How excited are you guys? Like, we're sitting here watching the Patriots.
I'm like uber excited.
Yeah.
I was excited up until the time I saw Kareem Hunt first carry go for a fumble.
Straight up fumble. He's in how many of your leagues?
I want to say out of the 6 leagues I'm in, he's my starter in like 5 of them, if not 6.
That's a way to pick him, buddy. Oop, offsides.
Here we go. Like free play.
Free play.
Brady.
How? Woo! So there's for everyone that's hearing, you're going to hear this after the game happened.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only been 6 minutes, 5 minutes have passed by, and the Patriots have 14 points basically already.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
Basically, they haven't called it.
They're on top of the world, yo.
I'm on top of the world because this is the first year I finally drafted Gronkowski.
I got him in a couple leagues.
I finally got him.
Well, you just won yourself some points, my friend.
Like 10 points off one play.
Yeah,
Is that
that's
what
it.
was?
One play.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yes, sir.
Man, what a catch.
All right.
So let's stop talking about the game that nobody's watching.
Oh, we recorded it?
Let's doesn't look like he has possession of the ball. Anyway, let's talk about the news. Art, tell us about this monster trade. Sheldon Richardson from the Jets to the Seahawks for Jermaine Kearse. Seahawks to the Jets.
So, you could have made the argument. I know a lot of people like the Broncos defense. You could have made the argument that the Seahawks, before this trade, had the best defense in the league. And now they get Sheldon Richardson, who was a not first overall, but was a first-round pick for the Jets a few years ago. Has always flashed success on the field, but has never been consistent. But now goes from a team that absolutely had no chance at all, was in the middle of like a rebuild or beginning a rebuild, and is now going to one of the best defenses in the league. And so I will say after this trade happened, there have been at least 1 or 2 leagues where I reached up for the Seahawks defense just because I was like, why not? They're going to be that good.
Yeah.
Dude. They're back. It's going to be insane.
And it's highly possible that
Yeah.
the Seahawks could be a real contender this year.
And I have Aaron Rodgers week 1. And, I mean, of course, you're playing him. But still, that defense.
I mean, I just saw some stats like the last 4 home games that Rodgers has played, and they're ridiculous. But I see some fantasy analysts, some fantasy analysts out there.
That's a new word
that had him ranked number 1 going into this week, and I'm like, you guys are crazy.
I mean,
I'm going to start him if I have him, but I mean,
you guys watching this game?
Yeah,
This 40-year-old man is number 1.
Jermaine Kearse, I mean, it makes him draftable because he clearly becomes the best wide receiver on that team. I know they just re-signed Jeremy Curley, who was like super excited to get off that team. Now was very eager to get back because he wasn't signed with anybody. But again, like there's no one on the Jets you really are super excited about except for Bilal Powell. But yeah, so that Jets or that Seahawks defense is just going to be ridiculous.
Wow, that's exciting. That's exciting if you're needing to get a defense or want to trade for a defense. That's what you want to do.
Or if you're a Seahawks fan, like only the smartest one of us is.
The jury's
Did I say
still out
smartest?
there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you did say smartest.
I'm sorry.
Transient.
You know what? Look it up, man. I learned that term.
I'm not saying you're not wrong. I'm just saying you didn't have to match any audio. Like,
Look it up.
all right.
All right. Bigger news. Bigger news.
Looking at this, Andrew Luck is missing more than at least 1 week. Latest reports I think I've seen are it's kind of indefinite. So what's going on there, and what does that mean for people like me who drafted T.Y. Hilton in 2 leagues?
I definitely think he's missing at least 2 weeks. There are some people who are saying that there's a possibility that he's already been throwing. They just haven't let anybody see, and that it's more of a mental, like, getting over that. Okay, well, I just had surgery on the shoulder. It's been bothering me for who knows how long, that they were hiding how bad this was. And so just getting the mental reps and getting over the mental hurdles. But still, like, there is a possibility that he may not play for 4 or 5 weeks or longer, you know? So I would say, in terms of what that means for his receivers, his tight ends, we're kind of in a wait and see type of situation. I think if you saw the preseason game, Scott Tolzien played exactly like what you think about when you think of someone named Scott Tolzien.
You got you really excited for the Rams defense this week.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit later. But so that was something that was going to come out from the news later on. But they recently traded Philip Dorsett, their first overall pick, who's looked like a total bust so far for the Colts, traded him to the Patriots for their third-string quarterback, Jacoby Brissett. And that's because he looked really good this preseason. And I think my guesstimate is that the Colts are going to see how Tolzien performs these first couple weeks. If he does not look good, that gives Brissett time to learn the playbook, and they will put in Brissett until Luck is healthy. I think, I always argue that talent's going to win no matter what. Tolzien knows the playbook, and T.Y. Hilton is way too talented not to not be successful in that offense with almost any quarterback. I'm a little bit hesitant with other players like Moncrief.
Yeah.
I think Jack Doyle could actually still hold value because when any quarterback is in distress, the first person they're looking at the nearest target, and that's either going to be a check down to Frank Gore or Marlon Mack or Matt Jones, or it's going to be a check down to the nearest tight end, which is Jack Doyle. And that actually could lead to, I think I have that down here, Matt Jones got released from Washington, got signed to the Colts, and I think it just muddies things up a little bit for Marlon Mack, who's someone I was really excited about. Yeah. But again, I'm still a huge believer in talent winning overall. So I still think Marlon Mack is someone to have on your bench, especially if you're in a pretty deep league. But, just to keep an eye out, because we've all been waiting for Frank Gore to kind of fall off the cliff in terms of his age and his production. Yeah. And if this year is that year, especially if Andrew Luck is not healthy, God forbid, but if let's say Andrew Luck doesn't play all season, they're going to have to take a real hard look, especially because it's Chris Ballard, the GM for the Colts. It's his first year as GM, and he could evaluate the entire team and figure out who he needs to let go, who he needs to re-sign, and who could emerge as like the new stars on that team.
Yeah. Going back to Luck, though, man, well, as far as T.Y. Hilton, I don't have him on any teams. But somebody dropped Luck in one of the league that I'm in. I picked him up. He could be potentially a little lottery ticket, If he's healthy, when he's back, it's Andrew Luck. And if he's even close to being 100% and you have him for the playoffs, I'm going to stash him on my bench for sure. I'm definitely not dropping him.
He could potentially be in an Ezekiel Elliott situation where he's on your bench for 6-7 weeks and then he shows up out of nowhere and just leads you to a championship. He's that good.
Oh, yeah.
All right. That's Andrew Luck missing more than at least 1 week, 2 weeks. It's kind of indefinite. So the other news we have here is Ezekiel Elliott, that you just brought him up. Looks like he's going to play on Sunday against the Giants, but tomorrow I believe he's going to court to see, tomorrow being Friday, so there's a chance you might be listening to this and we might already know what's going on with Ezekiel Elliott. I guess there's a clause that will allow him to play the whole season that they're going to be arguing. Tell me about that, Art.
So, truth be told, I think we all know I'm not a lawyer, so I am not going to know all the specifics to this.
You're not a lawyer?
No.
Wait, we need to get a lawyer on this show.
We need to get. I'm sure.
What are we doing wrong?
Right? So, from what it sounds like, I think his name is Harold Henderson, decided that he was going to uphold the 6-week or the 6-game suspension.
That's the arbitrator.
The arbitrator who had... So there's... So NFL suspended him. The NFL Players Association appealed it. They upheld the appeal. So now the NFL Players Association is now suing to basically hold the suspension until things are decided, finally. So it's very similar to what happened with Tom Brady, where we thought he was going to miss 4 games 2 years ago, and it didn't happen until this past year. So there is a potential situation that's what's going to happen to Ezekiel Elliott. In the meantime, so this first decision just means that he's going to get to play this week, but that there is still the possibility of him missing the next 6 games after that. So if that happens, you're going to get him for week 1, and then you're not going to get him again until I believe it's week 9.
Week 9.
Damn.
Yeah,
I
because
think
of
it's
the bye.
9. Yeah, I was listening to Fantasy Focus, and I heard Field Yates say week 8, but he's missing the bye week that's happening in week 6.
So is he suspended for 6 games?
6
or
games.
6 weeks?
6 games.
Okay. Don't tell my wife to listen to this because I was like, no, it's 6 weeks. I'm right.
So,
Baby, you're right. Always.
yeah.
I'm only going to say that because you don't
What
listen to this.
in the hell? Sorry, we just saw a wildcat play by the Kansas City Chiefs where they snapped the ball directly to Travis Kelce, and it looked ridiculous.
I
but
love it.
They got a first down.
First down.
I love it.
Anyways,
Moved out of the way.
but yeah, so I still think there is still a very strong possibility that he doesn't get suspended at all this entire season. He plays the whole season and then gets suspended next season. That being said, I think in terms of, most people have already held their drafts already. So right now you're just hoping that if you drafted him, you had enough insurance in terms of other running backs that you have drafted. So you're good for week 1. You just got to make sure you know what you're doing for the next few weeks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right, that's Ezekiel Elliott. We'll know more next week when we get together, for sure.
Yeah.
And if you're listening to this tomorrow, which we are hoping you will be, you may possibly already know what happened. So next on my notes I have here is the San Francisco 49ers cut Tim Hightower and put John Williams on injured reserve.
So this is less about the other 2 guys that they, Hightower and Williams, but more about the fact that they absolutely trust this, I think it's 7th round running back or undrafted free agent, Matt Breida. He is the unquestioned number 2 running back behind Carlos Hyde. And we have seen how successful that offense has looked just in the preseason under Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah.
I am a total believer in this coach now. And there's actually a funny clip going around. He kind of like let a curse word slip at his last press conference. It was really funny if you get a chance to look that up. But he looks like he really has grabbed a hold of this team, and they totally have their faith in him and what he's doing there. So Matt Breida is someone to think about. Also, kind of like Marlon Mack, have him at the end of your bench because, like Dan mentioned before, like we haven't seen Carlos Hyde finish a whole season before, or play a whole season before. So there's a good chance that at some point Matt Breida is going to be fantasy relevant.
It's nice.
Wow.
I don't have him in any leagues, but I'm going to check the waiver wire.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, possibly someone to pick up. All right, next on the list is
Kaysen? I think
Kaysen
or maybe
Williams.
it's Kaysen? Kaysen?
Kaysen Williams to the Browns.
We should have looked that up.
I would have said it Kaysen.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say it like that.
Jason.
Kaysen. Like Jason.
Jason with a K? I don't know how you
Jason,
say his name.
But he doesn't have an O.
We done goofed up and not looked that up.
Messed up.
But
Tell
I
us about
saw
it.
this guy. He used to be with the Seahawks. And he looked like he was the star of the Seahawks' preseason. And then they just cut him because they have so much talent on that team at wide receiver. And so
I'm sorry.
That's okay. We're watching.
Just running people over, dude.
I mean,
Oh, it looks good. I'm sorry. Keep going.
okay. So Williams.
Maybe this wasn't the best
maybe
idea.
it's not a good idea.
To you guys. I don't even listen to us anyways. If you're not listening to us, neither am I.
Okay. Anyway, so they cut him outright. They don't no practice squad, nothing. They just cut him. The Browns picked him up. The Browns are in the middle of this whole analytics-driven approach to what they're doing, and I think it's fantastic. And basically, what they're trying to do is to accumulate picks, and they've decided that based on research, that they are no better at predicting success from the draft than anybody else. So their best bet is to accumulate as many picks as possible, get as many players as possible, and that's the best way of rebuilding the team. You're starting to see the success of that. One of the things they've done is they've drafted a ton of wide receivers, but some of those haven't really panned out. So I know like they drafted a guy with a lot of potential named Rashard Higgins. They just cut him. They let Terrell Pryor go in the offseason. They brought in Kenny Britt. I've heard stories of Corey Coleman not doing as well as he had done last season. So they bring in a guy like Kason Williams, and I think it may take a little bit for him to learn the playbook. But this guy looks like the type of guy who, because he had been on the Seahawks practice squad for a while, it looks like he has just worked his way into being a successful wide receiver. And if anybody can coach that up, I believe in Hugh Jackson at the Browns. So he's someone just to keep in mind. It's not someone I would add to my bench or anything like that, but just a name to keep in mind.
All right.
I have a feeling like 2 years from now, we're going to be talking about a Super Bowl winning. No, maybe not 2 years. Okay, maybe 5.
I think 2 years, I could see them really making hay in that division.
Right?
Especially, it feels like the Ravens are starting to fall off.
Yeah, and Kaiser is just an exciting dude.
Yeah. So I really think the Browns are really turning. And based on some trades they did during the draft and during free agency, if you look it up, they have an absurd number of picks next year. They have at least like 2 of each pick in every round except for one. And I think there's 3 second-round picks or something crazy. So, I mean, if you were to infuse your team with that much young talent, I mean, they could really turn things around quickly.
Yeah.
The only thing I will say to that is how many times have other people said that in the last 4 years?
I don't know. I believe in what they're doing. I think it's working. I think it's going to work.
All right. Well, let's go and move on to Matt Jones.
Well, we talked about Matt Jones. Let's like I said, Matt Jones. He's not. Yeah. Come on, pay attention, Franny.
Come on,
Oh, I'm
dude.
sorry, man.
Listen.
I was paying attention, but I'm going down the list. You're the one that wrote this.
Oh yeah, that's true. But anyway, we already talked about Matt Jones. Let's talk about the you probably already know this because you listened to it on Friday. But the Buccaneers and Dolphins games that's supposed to be played on Sunday has been moved to Week 11, where they both have a bye because of Hurricane Irma. So what that means is basically Mike Evans, Jay Ajayi, Deshaun Jackson, Jameis Winston, Jacquizz Rodgers, Devontae Parker, anyone you were starting in that game, they're basically having their bye week this week. So make other arrangements from your team. Make sure you take those players out of your lineups.
All right.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, and I have to say just in general that I only know one person named Irma. You know this person, Art, who I knew that was named Irma. I used to work with her.
Oh,
and
God.
And the hurricane is aptly named.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Aptly named.
Dang. Poor Irma.
But really,
Is it Irma or is it Irma?
God bless everybody out there.
Yeah,
of course.
yeah,
Yeah,
really.
of course. Yeah.
Not to make light of it.
No.
Not to make light of it at all. And, people are still coming out from underneath the water in Houston, and our prayers go out to them.
Oh, yeah.
Also, stop making noises every time somebody scores or does something, man.
Just for anyone that was hoping for a solid touchdown from someone on the Chiefs, you probably didn't get it because it went straight to some fool named Harris.
Don't you hate watching people that's not on your fantasy team dance? Like, just
Especially because now there's no celebration penalties.
get
All
out
right.
of here, man.
So that's it.
All right,
So we're ready
let's move on to Week 1 games.
So we're not going over the Thursday game because it's happening right now. So we'd be useless to you.
Yeah, totally useless.
Yeah,
Totally
Not,
more
that,
useless
I was saying we should be more useless to you.
But let's talk about Week 1 games. Let's go with the early Sunday games. And the first game we've got here are the Trainwreck Jets versus the Bills. Okay, start their defense. Go.
Yeah, exactly. You could make an argument for starting both of their defenses.
Yeah.
Because the Jets defense is so good in terms of their front seven anyway. And the Bills are facing a terrible offense. I don't think there's anyone I would really start on the Jets except for Bilal Powell.
Yeah. Flex.
Especially,
RB2
it's week 1. Like, no one's on a bye except for the Dolphins and the Buccaneers. So you should have plenty of other options aside from them.
You got Bilal Powell maybe like the 7th round?
Yeah, like you got plenty of other people. On the Bill side of the ball, I think Tyrod got approved for Sunday's game.
Yeah.
Or cleared, I should say.
Yeah.
So I think he's a good start this week because while the Jets' front seven is solid, their cornerbacks are not. So I think he could prove to be useful this week. And LaShawn McCoy, of course, you got to start him.
All the LaShawn McCoy.
All of it.
I can't believe his coach is just like, we're gonna run him until he just can't run anymore.
I mean, there's just
He's gonna run him to the ground.
I don't know what they're thinking because his backup is basically as big as I am, but shorter. Like Mike Tolbert.
Tolbert, that's right.
Tolbert has been in the league since I first started playing fantasy football.
Oh, jeez, man.
So, I mean, I don't know what they're doing, but LaShawn McCoy is going to get a lot of touches. So I would start him. I don't trust any of the wide receivers right now. We really haven't seen this offense. I mean, Jordan Matthews also just got cleared recently, so it's going to be the first time you see the Bills with starting Tyrod, starting LaShawn McCoy, without Sammy Watkins, with Jordan Matthews, with Zay Jones, and with Charles Clay. So, I mean, I really have no idea what it's going to look like. So, LaShawn McCoy and Tyrod are the only players I'm starting in the Bills defense.
What about daily fantasy? Do you like the idea of maybe saving some money, going Charles Clay? Do you like him?
He's what you call a high variance player. So he could have
That's a fancy word.
He could have 60 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he could have 1 catch for 10 yards.
Yeah, that's true.
So I mean, that's a perfect tournament play. Not a cash game play. So when you approach daily fantasy, there's cash games where you're just trying to like double up your money, or you're going head to head for someone for cash.
Yeah,
you're trying to find the sustained amount of points. So someone that's really reliable. You're not trying to go for anything crazy, just the most number of points possible safely.
Yeah.
When it's a tournament, when you're trying to win like the Millionaire Maker or something like that, all bets are off. You are trying to put together a crazy team that the high variance is good because there are going to be opportunities for you to score a ton of points, and there's also the opportunity for you to score no points. But typically, you're playing a number of different rosters.
Oh, I see. Awesome, man.
All right, so that's the Jets versus the Bills. Let's go ahead and move on. Steelers versus the Browns.
Oh, man.
We're getting Le'Veon Bell back.
Le'Veon
Bell.
And the Browns, we found out, are going to be without Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
And it looks like they might be out. They're going to be missing him for like 4 or 6 weeks. So I think you start Le'Veon Bell. Hashtag analysis.
Yeah.
I think, they're playing at Cleveland. So if you've looked at Ben Roethlisberger's home road splits, it's crazy. It's like he's 2 different people.
Yeah.
I still think typically if you've drafted Ben Roethlisberger, you drafted him late and you're okay with him being your starter. But if you have someone that has a better matchup, let's say you went Big Ben and Carson Palmer, I would much rather start Carson Palmer.
Love Carson Palmer this
week. This week's going to be a good Carson Palmer week. And then you're starting their cornerbacks because I think I'm forgetting the guy's name, but the Browns have one cornerback that has played really well. I think Pro Football Focus ranked him 17 out of all the cornerbacks in the league. Wow. But that's still not good enough to stop Antonio Brown or Martavis Bryant. So I'm starting both of those guys.
Yeah, me too.
On the Brown side of the ball, I am starting Isaiah Crowell all day long because that offensive line should hold up pretty well against the Steelers. But that's really it for me on the Browns.
Yeah.
I don't trust Kenny Britt just yet. I don't trust Corey Coleman. I would potentially look obviously at the Steelers defense. The one person I keep hearing a few people kind of rumbling about is Deshaun Kaiser. Yeah. Week 1, I am not.
No.
You got to be a braver man than me to do that, or a braver woman than me. So if you want to do that, by all means, go for it. But I'm not.
Yeah. No. In daily though, I mean, hey, he's super cheap.
Super cheap.
Super cheap.
4,500, 4,800, something like that.
And if they're down, like I'm sure they will be down, he's just going to be throwing and running.
Al Zeidenfeld, he's won the Millionaire, I think, a couple times.
I was just listening to him today. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
He basically said, like, for someone like that or Carson Wentz to reach value, they need like 200 yards, 20 rushing yards, and 1 touchdown, which is not hard to do.
Triple their cost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that easily is done for just Deshaun Kaiser in daily.
Yeah, in daily.
But they're in regular fantasy.
No.
It could potentially be a 200-yard, 1 touchdown, 3 interception game. So
that's what my son would say.
All right. So that is the Steelers versus Browns. Let's move on. Jaguars versus the Texans.
This is going to be a defensive heavy.
I know. I don't feel good about this one at all, man.
It's going to be like a 14-13 type of game. This is going to be an ugly ass but exciting game.
And you know that touchdown's going to be from like the third string wide receiver that we have no idea. Yeah.
It'll be like Day Westbrook from the Jaguars scoring a touchdown.
I've been listening to a lot of analysts talk about Jadeveon Clowney coming into his own this year.
I'm sure.
That 1-2 punch with the
my
Houston Texans is...
That's something I am very excited. It's the first time we are going to see a healthy Jadeveon Clowney.
Yeah.
A healthy J.J. Watt.
Jeez.
A whole team that's super inspired because of all the things that are going on in Houston. That defense is going to be nasty. We already know the Jaguars' defense on paper looks like it's going to be nasty.
Oh, yeah.
I just think there is a lot of potential for both defenses to score some points. So that said, you just got to be aware of what's going on with your offense. So like, I'd be careful starting Leonard Fournette. I mean, you probably don't have better options.
Yeah, no.
But I would temper your expectations. I would, if I'm starting Leonard Fournette, I'm hoping for a goal line touchdown and like 65 yards.
Which seems about.
I think that's reasonable for a starting running back against a really tough defense.
Yeah, if they're trying to tire them out, I can see him just getting all the work.
On the Jaguars, I think the guy that could have a lot of scoring potential in terms of yardage or production.
Wait, Julius Thomas is not even on that team anymore.
Definitely not on that team. I was going to say Allen Robinson because while the Jets and the Texans are very similar in that their front seven is really solid, but their cornerbacks are a little suspect, especially since the Texans lost A.J. Abuye. So I think Allen Robinson could put up some good points.
Okay.
On the Texans side of the ball, I think you're starting Lamar Miller, also tempering your expectations because of how good that Jaguars defense looks. And I mean, you're starting DeAndre Hopkins, but you could argue that the Jaguars now have the best cornerbacks in the league.
Wow.
So I would temper my expectations with them as well.
All right, man.
All right, that's the Jaguars versus the Texans. Basically, defense versus defense.
That's it.
That's it. Let's talk about the Arizona Cardinals versus the Detroit Lions.
Oh, dude, I'm so excited to see this game.
You start all your Cardinals.
All of them.
That Lions defense does not look good.
Oh, my gosh. All those people that gave me crap for drafting Larry Fitzgerald.
This is
where you make your money back.
Down.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Carson Palmer's going to have a solid game. I think Fitzgerald's going to have a good game.
Jeez.
I could see John Brown just getting like a 60-yard touchdown in this game.
Yeah, that's true.
David Johnson is just going to go off. I like the Cardinals' defense.
Yep.
Because they got some key players back this season. I like Marvin Jones in this game on the Lions side of the ball. I think they've talked about Patrick Peterson shadowing Golden Tate, and if that happens, Marvin Jones could see some success. I could see Eric Ebron getting a red zone touchdown, but he also, like we were talking about Charles Clay, he might have like 2 catches for 20 yards and a touchdown, which is, I mean, for where you drafted him, that's exactly what you need. Running backs on the Lions, I still think the person you want to start is Amir Abdullah. I think they've been putting a little more faith in him now that he's healthy.
Yeah.
And I think all things equal, if all their backs are 100% healthy, Amir Abdullah is their best running back.
Yeah.
He has some fumbling issues. He has some health issues. But if he's healthy, I think he's the most talented running back.
I can see him getting a lot of pass work, too. If they're down. I'm not starting Matthew Stafford, though. I mean, I don't know, man.
If you drafted him, I'm hoping you like. So when I was drafting, I either went, if I reached for a quarterback, it was going to be Russell Wilson. Mm-hmm. Like I said, if I waited a little bit later, it was going to be Marcus Mariota. And if I didn't do that, I was doubling up on quarterback, and I would get either Carson Wentz and Carson Wentz and Carson Palmer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Carsons. I was doing the Carsons. Or I was doing Carson Wentz and like Sam Bradford or Matthew Stafford and Phillip Rivers because I wanted to be able to play the matchup. So if you did something like that, I would probably not start Matthew Stafford. But I think he could have a good game, just not a great game.
All right.
All right, that is the Cardinals versus the Lions. Let's move on.
Buccaneers
And the Dolphins are not playing, so maybe update this before you come to the show.
I sent this on Tuesday because I'm a hard worker.
Wow, you just killed everybody's ears, man. Now you're right up in the mic.
I am all up in the mic right now to make a point.
Guys, we cannot get Arthur to just come on.
Stay still.
I have ADD. All right.
Yeah, all right.
Give me a fidget spinner or something.
Let's talk about the Falcons versus the Bears.
Wait, we're skipping the Buccaneers and Dolphins? Oh, I'm just kidding.
God.
Oh man, I wish you guys could have said.
I'm
sorry.
You know what? We just gave Daniel the most disgusting.
Oh my god!
Like the same look we just gave him when he was like taking his time eating before we could get started.
And
because
eating in the microphone.
Nobody
is
wants
so
to hear you
gross.
eating into the microphone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You know, pass me those snacks right there, man.
Those what?
Give me those M&Ms. Snacks.
Am I not giving you nothing?
All right.
All right.
Falcons and Bears.
Falcons and Bears. Falcons are going to win. Done.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
So obviously I like Matt Ryan in this game.
Matty Ice.
I love Julio Jones in this game. The only person on the Bears I'm starting is Jordan Howard
Oh yeah, because you probably have to.
because you have to.
Uh-huh.
I love the Falcons defense, especially if you waited on defense and you really draft anybody. If you're in a 10-team league, I bet you the Falcons are somewhere around there. I think they have a solid game. And one person I really love in this game, because I think Devontae Freeman's going to have a decent game, I love Tevin Coleman in this game.
Yeah.
I think the Falcons are going to get up big because on paper, the Bears have nothing. They have Jordan Howard and a bunch of guys trying to prove themselves. And some dork named Mike Glennon just leading this team to the slaughter.
He's so dorky, man.
And
Some dork.
And I think the Falcons are just going to put up a bunch of points. And what's going to happen is Mike Glennon is going to try to catch up. I think he's going to throw some interceptions.
Uh-huh.
And once they get up big, I think they're going to just say, okay, Devontae Freeman's coming off a concussion. Let's not risk him.
Yeah.
Let's sit him for a little bit and let's just let Coleman go crazy.
What could have been, with Coleman?
I think since they gave that extension to Freeman, I don't think they re-signed Coleman. He's going to end up somewhere else and be a star.
And I hope it's the Seahawks.
I could see that happening.
I can see that
Right?
happening too. Yeah.
Just get rid of all those dudes.
Yeah.
Except for Carson, right?
Yeah.
Because it's
I
Chris
like
Carson?
Chris Carson.
Yeah, Chris Carson. I'm sorry, we're on different games right now.
Yeah. Wait till we
I'm
get
sorry,
there.
I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead.
All right, let's go to the Raiders versus the Titans.
Oh,
that looks
dude.
like it's going to be a good game.
This is the one I want to watch.
That's the one you want to watch, right?
There's going to
Yeah.
be fantasy points everywhere.
Everywhere.
You get a touchdown. And you get a touchdown. Everyone's getting touchdowns in this game.
This is the Oprah Winfrey of
fantasy football.
fantasy football.
I literally love everybody in this game.
All right.
I love Derek Carr.
Derek Carr.
I love
Amari Cooper.
I love Amari Cooper. I love Michael Crabtree. I think Marshawn Lynch has the hardest matchup out of anybody in this game because the Titans' defensive line's no joke.
Yeah.
The Titans, I love everybody.
Oh, dude.
The only one I'm a little hesitant on is DeMarco Murray, but that's just because he's been dealing with that hamstring injury, and I still haven't seen anything from him.
Yeah.
But I love Rashard Matthews. I love Eric Decker. They say the coach basically said, okay, Corey Davis isn't on a snap count, but he's only on a certain number of packages. And I'm like, well, that's kind of a snap count. So I wouldn't start Corey Davis just yet. I do think he's someone that's going to emerge later.
Yeah.
But I love everybody in this
Delaney
game.
Walker?
Delaney Walker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean,
Who is the tight end for the Raiders?
for the Raiders, Jared Cook.
Oh.
He could be... I mean, it's hard to put faith in him because he hasn't really put it all together ever.
Yeah.
What that stat that Matt Barry likes to throw around is that he's had 1 touchdown in 2 seasons. I mean,
Wait, is that?
that's.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, that's not. You don't want to hang your hat on that. So
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't do anything with Jared Cook until you see something.
Okay.
And I'm not starting either of those defenses because I mean it's just going to be points
Oh,
on
yeah.
points, man.
Oh, yeah.
Points on points. Points on points on points. You get a touchdown. And you get a touchdown. You get a touchdown. And you get a touchdown. We're fabulous. Did you like that one? I think my wife just kind of looked at me like, what are you doing?
And then I think she just flipped you off right there.
Yeah, she did.
I saw that.
She totally, yeah.
She passed
totally
it off
gave me
as like a hair touch, but it was.
It's like, all right. Well, just in case you didn't know, my wife is in the other room listening and rolling her eyes to most of what we're saying.
And she refused the microphone, but soon.
One of these
Yes.
days, she's gonna come on and say
Oh,
hello.
yeah.
She's nodding her head no. Anyway, let's talk about the Ravens and the team that just doesn't deserve to be a football team at all. The Bengals.
Yeah, let's just talk about the Ravens.
Let's just talk about the Ravens. We don't need to talk about the Bengals. Who cares?
Yeah. So Joe Flacco, you probably not started him. Let's see
Dan
who
is
else.
the only person that has a team that's worth talking about. Because who do the Cowboys have?
You know what?
Okay, was
Whatever,
on.
bro.
Nope.
We got prendele la vela, bro.
Is that a good
That was Fernie for about 45 minutes last week.
Heck yes.
That's all he said.
Yeah.
Heck yes.
So
Remember
we're
when we tried to
apologize
keep
for
it-
that.
Yeah.
No, don't apologize for that. That's awesome. All right, go on. Talk about
We tried
your
to keep it just an hour, and then
Talk
it was like
about-
30 minutes.
talk about your darn football team and whatever his name is, the Red Rocket or
You're not starting
Red
Andy
Rifle.
Dalton this week.
Whatever his name is.
But you are starting AJ Green.
Oh man.
You're starting Tyler Eifert.
I actually almost picked him up the other day.
I think on the Ravens side, I don't like anybody except for Terrence West.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like Danny Woodhead. If you are crazy in daily fantasy, one of those tight ends is going to have a good game because the Bengals have struggled continually with tight ends, and they're missing Vontaze Burfict for the first 3 games. So someone in that tight end group is going to do well. My bet, I think they're starting Nick Boyle, but I think their most talented tight end is Max Williams. So I don't know what you want to do with that information. I think right now, since we know the starter is Nick Boyle, I think he might be someone that could maybe have especially because in daily, it's PPR. So I think he could have like a 5 catch for 50 yards, like give you 10 points.
I always feel like every time you say somebody that I don't know, they go off. And so I'm going to go straight to DraftKings and put Nick Boyle in every single one of my lineups.
And then I think everyone's waiting to see what the Bengals do at running back.
Oh, yeah, dude.
They are one of the most stubborn teams when it comes to rookies. So the year Giovanni Bernard got drafted, I was super excited. He looked exciting. He looked explosive. And they just kept running Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis out there first and then would get Gio Bernard just a few touches per game. I could very much see that happening with Jeremy Hill, Joe Mixon, and I think Giovanni Bernard's going to keep his same role. He's going to get a few carries a game, but mostly going to be, the third down back.
Yeah.
But I would really just not expect a whole lot of Joe Mixon just yet. I think eventually, it is crystal clear that he is like the best running back out of the entire group. But I think it's going to be a while before Marvin Lewis gives him his shot. So for now, if you're, I think for a lot of people, especially if you drafted early, you probably drafted Joe Mixon as your number 2 running back. If you have another option, I probably would use that other option.
Yeah.
Especially against the Ravens. But if you have to use him, again, you're hoping for like 50 yards and maybe he gets a touchdown.
Especially because you're so right, man, and you know exactly who they're going to use if they get in the red zone.
It'll
You
be
know
Jeremy
Jeremy
Hill.
Hill's going in there.
And he's terrible. Like that's the thing
Yeah.
is like he's super hesitant when he gets down there. I think on the Bengals side, the only people that you're confidently starting are Tyler Eifert and AJ Green.
Yeah. I agree.
All right.
I like that.
So the Ravens are going to win, the Bengals are going to lose, and that's all there is
Yeah,
to
who
it. Let's
does win that
move.
game, honestly?
Does
Bang,
win that
bang,
game.
Bengals will win that game.
Bengals win. Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, right now, you could. Depending on what we see out of the Browns' offense in Week 1, you could make the argument that the Ravens' offense is worse than the Browns.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens on Sunday.
Yeah.
All right, final game of the early games, Eagles versus Washington, 2 teams that I don't care anything about, and I hope everybody gets injured. Go.
So you want to talk about the NFC's winner? Then?
One of these groups is going to win the division.
¿Sabes qué?
Yeah.
¿Sabes qué, bro? ¿Sabes qué? Nobody's talking to you, bro.
This has been the most awake Fred has been this entire time.
I hate you guys.
Look, the Eagles. I think the Eagles got it this year, man.
I agree.
Carson Wentz, I think just takes off, and dude, his receiving group, he could throw it anywhere on the field, dude.
The difference between last year and this year is ridiculous. I mean, to go from so he had Jordan Matthews, who's really a slot receiver, was his number one.
Yeah.
He had Nelson Aguilar, and then he had Dorial Green Beckham.
Yeah.
I mean, basura. Now he's got Alshon Jeffrey, Torrey Smith.
Oh.
He's still got Nelson Aguilar, who apparently has looked really good in camp. And then he got Zach Ertz right in the middle.
I'm sorry. I know. I didn't mean to cut you off right there. When Tom Brady throws a long pass like that, I just get excited. Okay, I'll shut up.
What? You know,
we
can't bring you anywhere.
We're trying to. Yeah, we can't take you nowhere. Nowhere, Zay.
We got Dan telling his guys, I have to leave it this time. I have to leave it.
You guys are so
Dude, we're not even halfway through the show, and it's 7:36.
Yeah.
And I have to leave at 8, bro.
Look, fine. You guys listen to this on Saturday night. You know what?
Okay.
I'm gonna finish this next week.
Go ahead. All right.
Anyway.
I'm just kidding.
Anyway.
I'm gonna finish this.
And
tonight.
he's got Zach Ertz.
Yeah.
The other reason why I like that all that being said, I love Carson Wentz this week. Also because they ain't got one running back that I love. I think LeGarrette Blount has looked absolutely awful.
Poor dude.
I think Darren Sproles is probably their best running back right now, and he's like 47. He's still pretty fast, and he's good at receiving the ball. But I think just given the nature of the way he runs and plays football, Darren Sproles,
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a pass-first team now. And I think Carson Wentz is the exact type of quarterback that could do well in that kind of a system.
I love it, man.
So one thing that I mentioned, if you've been following us on Instagram, which is it's at Living in Fiction Football,
Yes.
is that I think Alshon Jeffrey is going to be covered by Josh Norman.
Mm-hmm.
If that happens, I think that Zach Ertz and Torrey Smith are going to have really nice games this Sunday.
I have thrown Torrey Smith into 2 daily fantasy lineups, just
Same.
thinking that he's going to catch that long bomb.
And
at least 2 of them.
Yeah, and if I don't have Torrey Smith in there, I have Zach Ertz in there.
Absolutely.
So I think they're going to be solid. I really don't know what to expect out of Washington because their offense has looked really bad in the preseason.
Yeah.
I think if you drafted Terrell Pryor, you probably drafted him as your number 2, and in some cases, if you went running back, he might be your number 1. So I think you have to start him.
Yeah.
Same thing with Jordan Reed. The one player I do love for Washington is Rob Kelly. I think he's going to have a really nice game. I think the Eagles' defensive line is pretty stout, but I still think you should have a pretty good game.
Oh yeah.
I don't love either of their defenses. But if you had to start one in this game, I think it'd be the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, the Eagles. Yeah, I think so too.
Especially with the addition of Ronald Darby.
And they've always been such a high-scoring defense too. Always.
So I kind of want to know, who do you guys have in this game?
I would say Philadelphia.
Yeah, me too.
So I'm going to go on a limb and say Washington.
I don't see the what's his name? I don't see
Kirk Cousins
I don't see Kirk Cousins pulling it out this
pulling
time.
it out this time.
Wow.
He won't like that.
I'm sure hoping that. I think the FCC would be all over that.
I don't think I see it.
I didn't even think about it. Pulling it off.
Man, we just got pulling it out. Wow. Well, I think we just got the name of the pod this week. I don't think I see Kirk Cousins pulling it out.
Oh man.
And
2 kids later, and
let
I'm
me tell
thinking
you,
about pulling.
I will say if you were excited to watch this Thursday night game and to watch Rex Burkhead go crazy, you're going to be real disappointed.
Arthur's the only one disappointed. Nobody else thought of. I drafted Gillislee, and I didn't start him.
All right, let's get into the Sunday afternoon game.
Let's talk about the Colts versus the Rams. We talked a little about this earlier, but I was telling Art that I drafted T.Y. Hilton, and now without Andrew Luck, I don't know if I should start him. What advice would you give me, Arthur?
I think based on where you drafted him, it'd be hard-pressed to find someone better to start. I still would feel semi-confident starting T.Y. Hilton. I think the Rams still have a pretty decent defense. But I think T.Y. Hilton's too talented not to start.
The leading reception guy last year, right? He led the league in receptions. Or
Really?
yards. Something.
We'll have to look that up.
Yeah, I need to quit being an analyst, pretending to be an analyst. I just listen to analysts.
But I think he's still going to be solid. I don't like any of the other Colts except for maybe Jack Doyle because I think Scott Tolzien's going to be in over his head, and he might be checking passes down to Jack Doyle. But I don't like anyone else on the Colts except for T.Y. Hilton and Jack Doyle. On the Rams side of the ball, I think Todd Gurley is a solid start because I think once you take Andrew Luck out of the Colts, they have 2 really good wide receivers, and that's it. They literally don't have anything else. No one that's actually proven anything. So I would feel really confident starting the Rams defense. I'd feel confident starting Todd Gurley.
Yeah.
And, the Colts, not only are they missing Andrew Luck, but they're also missing Vontae Davis, who's their best and one of the best cornerbacks in the league. That said, I think Sammy Watkins and Cooper Kupp could also have a really nice game. I mean, I really like the entire Rams offense in this game. I think they're going to be great.
Yeah. Gillisley just scored his second touchdown, and I'm crying, dude. He's on all my benches. All of them.
This is awful.
I'm starting to Sammy Watkins everywhere that I drafted him. I am. And I know it's kind of I'm rolling the dice here, but
I think we talked about this before. People only saw one preseason game with Sammy Watkins, and he had been on the team for like 4 days. So I think, I say you start him out there because they had now had a number of weeks with Sammy Watkins on the team, and they're facing a Colts defense that is not very good.
yeah.
Interesting. What about the tight end Higbee? I know you put him on a sleeper list, right?
Did I?
Yeah, Tyler Higbee. He's on a sleeper list on our Instagram. Come on.
Okay, I don't remember. Look, I write these things, and I gotta move on to the next thing.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, guys, this is our nighttime job. We
Because we got day
jobs.
jobs. I know. But see,
So I will
here's the
say
thing.
this.
I took your advice and I drafted him.
Oh yeah, but you didn't. I saw that, but he's not like your number one.
He's
tight
not
end.
my
He's your
number
backup.
one tight end.
I
He's
think
my
that's
backup.
exactly where you drafted.
He probably doesn't even know.
No, I saw. No, I seriously, I looked at his
okay.
team. I like Tyler Higbee because of the fact that when he got drafted last year, he got drafted in like the 4th or 5th round. That was because he was in he was getting not tried, but he was getting under investigation for assault. He got in like a bar fight or something. But based on talent, they said he should have been a 2nd-round pick and that he had Travis Kelce potential.
Wow.
He's super athletic. He's really big, can catch the ball. So I know their first pick this year, they didn't have a first overall pick because they got Jared Goff, but their 2nd-round pick was also a tight end. But I think between the two, I would put my faith in Tyler Higbee. And again, during the preseason, Jared Goff was looking at him often. So that's why I put him on the sleeper list.
All right. Anything else, guys?
No, I think that's it.
So who do you have in this game?
Oh, the Rams.
The Rams,
easy.
easy.
Come on now. Come on.
If Brian's listening, he's going to be very, very, very happy. All right, let's move on to the next game. Second of 3 games, the Panthers versus the San Francisco 49ers. And I like me some Cam Newton. What do you think?
I mean, I have to start him. He's my only quarterback in one league, but I don't feel good about it. I'm nervous, man. We haven't really seen him. The coaches came out and said he's 100% now. He said, I think that's what you said last week, right? That he's 100%, or that he's not holding back. He's going to play the way Cam plays. I'm sure he's probably not going to run as much. I think we're just we're gonna see a different Cam this year.
Yeah.
I could not agree more.
Yeah.
I think especially I think he always wanted to argue that you got to let me play the way I want to play, and he still said that even after surgery. But I think there's a small voice in the back of his mind who knows now, like, if I keep playing this way, how long will I really be able to play football?
Oh yeah.
And so they drafted to address that specific issue. I mean, they got Christian McCaffrey, they got Curtis Samuel. Those players alone are going to make it very easy for him to find a better option than taking off and running it.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious to see how this game goes, because the other thing is in that 3rd preseason game, which is like their dress rehearsal for what the season looks like, the 49ers defense looked solid. I mean, Solomon Thomas and Reuben Foster, their first-round draft picks, have looked really good. Now, their cornerbacks, I think I mentioned this before, are still the worst, could be the worst in the league.
Yeah.
But I think I wouldn't start Jonathan Stewart in this game. Christian McCaffrey, I think, is going to still find some other ways to succeed, whether it's between running, catching, yards after the catch. So I'm starting him. I'm starting Kelvin Benjamin for the same reason because the cornerbacks are so bad.
Yeah.
I think Cam Newton's going to have a good game. But I would not be surprised if the 49ers win this game.
That's an interesting take
I
on
think,
all this.
Yeah.
I think their offense under Shanahan has looked really solid. And more than anything, really balanced. He is really maximizing everybody's talent on that team. And that's the exact kind of coach that you want, or what you really want your coach to be able to do. So I like Pierre Garçon just because of how much they're forcing the ball to him.
Yeah.
And, someone who made my sleeper list was Marquise Goodwin.
Yeah, I picked him up because I done saw him run, and he can run.
Oh, dude.
I think what Shanahan, you saw what he did. If you just imagine it from last year, Pierre Garçon, even though obviously he's not as naturally talented as Julio Jones, but he is a Julio Jones in this offense. Marquise Goodwin is Taylor Gabriel. He is that speedster who is going to catch the long ball, but also get a lot of screen passes and yards after the catch. So I think I'm excited about them. I'm excited about Carlos Hyde, too. They're using him, and not just as a traditional, okay, I'm only going to use him between the tackles. They're using him out of the backfield catching balls. I'm excited to see that game.
I like Carlos Hyde in this game. Yeah, man.
And, if you drafted the Panthers defense, you're going to start him.
Yeah. I don't know. I see Panthers winning. I see Panthers pulling it off.
There you go.
Gosh darn.
Wow, man.
Why do I keep saying that?
That's twice.
Are you sure that's not a saying,
I think
though?
it's still a
is, right?
saying. I think yeah.
But-
Okay.
But you're surrounded by perverts. Perverts. Man, I
This
didn't
is true.
even...
I sure am.
12-year-olds. Say it more politically correct. 12-year-olds. Why you gotta
Oh, sorry.
say it so demeaningly?
Okay, and then let's move on.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the last game that should have been the Sunday night game because no one wants to watch the Cowboys on Sunday night. They want to watch the Packers and the Seahawks.
You know what I was going to say right now? Look, I was just going to say right now, I think this is going to be a preview to the NFC Championship. I think these are the two teams that are going to come out of the NFC. As much as I want to prender la vela, I know what they're capable of.
Yeah. This is going to be fun.
Oh yeah, dude. What do you?
I'm excited about this game. Actually, yeah.
Two good offenses versus each other. Two good defenses versus each other. What can you say?
Aaron Rodgers, Aaron
Rodgers. Like I said, there are some analysts that are still giving him number one this week, and I don't get it. If you drafted Aaron Rodgers, you're going to start him.
Oh yeah.
But that's a tough defense. The good thing is he's playing at home, so hopefully that offsets things a little bit.
But of course, you're starting them.
You're starting everyone in this game that you normally would have started. Jordy Nelson, you're still going to start, even though he's probably going to get Richard Sherman. Mm-hmm. You're going to start Devontae Adams. The one person I think on the Green Bay Packers who could have some success and kind of be like the old version that we used to see is Randall Cobb.
Yeah, everyone's forgotten about Cobb.
Yeah, he went late in these drafts.
Late, dude.
I couldn't believe that he was available.
He used to be like a second-round pick.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
And I think as a slot receiver, I think, he could find some success. Oh, my God.
Alex Smith. That's it. Take him out.
There's only a certain amount of time. Alex Smith is on borrowed time before people start screaming for Patrick Mahomes.
That's it.
Mahomes. Anyway.
He knows it too, dude.
So I think Randall Cobb has a really nice game. I think Ty Montgomery, even though it's a we talked about that defense now with Sheldon Richardson. It's going to be tough running on the Seahawks. But Ty Montgomery is a former wide receiver, so I think they're going to find a way to make him productive in that offense. On the Seahawks side of the ball, love Russell Wilson. Love Doug Baldwin.
Were you just gonna say Golden Tate?
He used to be a Seahawk.
Wow,
Golden Tate is on.
I know, whatever.
He's on the Detroit Lions.
I love Doug Baldwin.
Actually, wasn't it that game that Golden Tate caught that Hail Mary?
That's the one.
Against the Green Bay Packers. I'll never forget. That was my first ever fantasy season. I cried that night.
And then I like...
Because I lost my first fantasy football game.
Like a little girl.
Yeah, I did.
All right.
I always cry. Hey, it's okay to cry.
Yeah.
Why like a little girl?
Yeah.
Why you gotta be sexist, Fernie?
Yeah.
You know what? I'm sorry.
Is that an insult? That's not supposed to be an insult.
It's not supposed to be an insult. You're right.
Now Christy really is nodding her head because that's what she has to deal with every day.
Every day.
And Fernie's gonna have a girl, and he still take crying like a little girl.
Ooh.
Think about that. Think about that when you sleep tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I'll sleep like a baby.
Like a baby girl.
Okay.
Anyway,
Jimmy Graham.
Jimmy Graham.
Jimmy Graham's going to have a good game this game.
I love it.
Because the Packers have had addressed some of these the glaring holes that were in their offense and their defense, but a lot of these rookies still haven't shown up the way they're supposed to. So I think the Seahawks offense is going to have a lot of success. I think it could be a high-scoring game.
Me too.
I think it just depends on how well Rodgers and the offense can perform against the Seahawks.
And if you all get nervous, you know that fourth quarter is Aaron Rodgers' quarter.
That's his time.
That's his
that
time.
is his time.
I always wait.
He likes that fourth quarter. Yeah. All right, I'm going to put you guys on the record before we take our little break, and I'm going to ask. I'm really interested to see who you guys have in this game.
No, don't make me do this.
I'm making you do it. I'm making you do it.
I got the Seahawks.
Daniel?
I got the Seahawks, but you know Aaron Rodgers is going to throw like a stupid Hail Mary with like 5 seconds left, dude.
As much as it pains me to say this, I have...
Look. I love the Seahawks. Seahawks are my team. I can't see Aaron Rodgers losing this game. I don't know why.
Neither can I,
don't know
and that's why I feel really confident. Because between the two quarterbacks, I have to pick Aaron.
Yeah, man. I see
Aaron.
it.
So that being said, that's our Sunday games. During the day games, we're going to come back here in a little bit. We're going to talk about Sunday night. We're going to talk about the 2 Monday night games. And then we have a couple of segments we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Arthur's doctor's orders because he is Dr. Art Aguirre.
Yes, he is.
And don't you forget it.
Dr. Arthur Alexander. Don't
Dr. Arthur Alexander Aguirre. And if that didn't sound like a badass name to you, I don't know what sounds.
Dr. Triple A.
Yeah. A. All right, guys. So normally this is where we put in ads. So if you guys are interested in advertising with us, please, by all means. And also, if you haven't yet, go check out www.crowdandtowncreative.com. We are a multimedia consulting agency, and we've got some exciting content coming to you.
Yeah.
We've gone out and taken on some clients, and we've done a couple of videos, and I've done some interesting work. Art's done some really interesting work. Daniel has done some amazing work, some amazing musical work. So some of these videos that you're going to see has some original work from Daniel on the guitar.
Yeah. I play a little guitar every now and then.
Guitar. Yeah. But that composing work is really good. And
thanks, man.
So guys, if you guys are interested, reach out to us. Or if you have questions about the podcast, or if you have questions about what fantasy do I do, or how do I do this, Arthur, please help me. You can drop him a line. What's that Twitter?
At Art Aguirre LIF. That's ARTAGUIRRELIF.
Also follow us on Instagram. Living in Fiction Football at Living in Fiction Football, and we're updating almost every day. We're keeping up with that update. Doing your sleeper picks this week. We've been kind of a little bit behind the 8 ball because Monday was a holiday, but today was wide receiver Thursdays. Tomorrow is tight end Fridays. I don't know. That sounds funny to me.
And what I'm hoping to also do is every Monday night I will provide an article on our website. We'll give you all that information. I'll put that on our Instagram and our Facebook. We'll let you know what the official website is, because I know I also have a Living in Fiction website, so I'll probably link it to our Crowd and Town Creative website.
Yeah.
But I'll be putting up all the stuff that we're putting on Instagram will be in long form there on the website. But on Mondays I'll put up the waiver wire column on our website.
All right.
Well,
that sounds good. And let's go ahead and take a break, and we'll be right back. God, I can't get over that, man. Play it again. Again. What the bitch? It's actually in tune. It really is.
I know that song. It's one of my favorite songs.
So let me explain, because for those people who think that Art is just singing every time I play that, Art, like on a completely separate occasion, without the music being played, sang it perfectly in tune and in time.
Because I know what I'm doing.
He's a very talented musician. I feel like we keep trying to tell him this, but he doesn't.
Yeah, he doesn't listen to that.
Yeah.
What is that? Like the other day I told you, dude, pick up your guitar and start composing again. What's wrong with you?
If you guys met Art after, what, year 2012, 2013?
Yeah, you
missed the
out.
golden music years.
Yeah, he's an amazing accomplished musician.
Yeah.
I think we all are. You know what? Now is the perfect time to kind of explain. Actually, let's kind of explain to everybody what we used to do. We used to be in a band, actually. We used to be in a band called The Crowd, the Town, and Everyone, and that's our namesake for the business.
Yeah.
We had some really good friends in there. We had
Yeah.
Mina Soto, Chris Spencer, and rest in peace, our wonderful friend Richard Molina.
Richard Molina.
I miss Richard.
Yeah.
You know what?
man.
I would give my drums to him if I could see him again. Like, because that guy always wanted to play my drums.
You hated him touching
I
your
hate him
drums.
drums, and
That was
now
so
I just
weird.
feel like, dude, if you come back, I'll let you play whatever you can have them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can have the drums.
So vivid in my mind, man, being in that living room.
Yeah,
jamming.
right over there.
Oh,
I just
dude.
remember
like it was yesterday.
yeah. I have video of him playing right there, and then of them.
Oh, because you had taken off and he was like, hurry,
Yeah,
Art, give me
yeah.
the drumsticks. Like, okay.
And
You always play that same beat.
Yeah, that's exactly.
so understand that this band was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
10 years.
10 years
crazy.
ago. So to Mina and Chris
And Richard.
and Richard, God bless you.
Yeah.
We know you're listening. We know you're here. We miss you.
Well,
very much.
we don't know if you're listening, but you better
But
be.
you
Yeah.
better be listening. Well, Mina better be listening because I listen to her podcast.
Yeah.
You know what? Her podcast is really good. Artists loving artists. It's
Dude,
really
that's right.
very
yeah,
good,
man.
I download it all the time.
Yeah, I listen to it all the time, and I keep telling her I want to be on it.
That'd
We
be
should
awesome.
we should have an episode where
Yeah.
the three of us are on it. Like we can call in or something.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think
dude.
so.
Or it'll be easier for her to call in to us.
Us.
Yeah, I could do that Google thing right here.
Yeah. We just because she has. I'm sure she has like a good quality mic. If she calls in from like Skype or something using that mic, it would sound like she's in the room with us.
I love it.
I love it.
Mina.
We're gonna do it, Mina.
Yeah.
Mina, if you got
Mina.
this far,
We
1
gotta-
hour in.
We'll do because she hasn't. I've looked at all the ones that she's done. She hasn't done like a pop punk one.
Oh, we should do that.
Oh my god.
Oh my God,
going
we're
down.
gonna listen to Fall Out Boy.
Oh.
But
Take
like,
this to your grave.
yeah, that Fall Out Boy. not the
Not the most
garbage.
recent,
that,
dude. I listened to like
the
their most
Munsters
recent
cover.
single.
No.
Anyway. So this podcast has been all over the place because we're watching the game. We had some delicious pumpkin muffins.
Thank you.
So I got a lot of
Chrissy.
sugar in my system. And
All
we're
right.
talking about how we got together. But anyway,
Let's move on.
we
Let's
are
move on
now
to
hitting
the.
the Sunday night game.
That's right. Y prendele la vela, bro.
Oh, Sunday night.
All right, let's go. Giants versus Cowboys. I keep seeing Odell Beckham is questionable, but he's going to play, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
He hasn't practiced. The good thing is they said that he is not in like any type of protective boot or anything. And he said if you want
Protective.
was that what it?
You said like predictive.
Protective.
Sorry, I
Protective.
Got a lot of muffin icing in my system. Okay.
Wow.
Oof.
Oh.
So he's not wearing any protective boots or anything.
So he's.
And he said if he plays, he doesn't want to wear any kind of like ankle support. So that might actually be a reason why the coaches would hold him out for this game, especially because it's the first game of the season. Like, it's not. They'd rather have him for the entire rest of the season, especially with how competitive that whole division is going to be.
Yeah.
So I mean, you really have to. I would have other options available to you. So like, hopefully, you have someone who's either playing because with 2 games going on Monday night. Hopefully, you have another option in case he's not available, because I'm sure Sterling Shepard got drafted in your league. Brandon Marshall most likely.
I was just gonna say.
So I don't know. This early again, you should have everybody available to you. So if he's out, obviously it's a downgrade to anybody else. But I really don't know if he's going to play or not.
Yeah.
If he plays, obviously
You started.
just- oh,
I mean,
you started.
there was a game. I think it was Matthew Berry who was, and actually I should mention that because I know I talked about this with Fernie and Dan. Like, there's a lot of other fantasy analysts and what they have a specialty. So like Matt Hartman does reception and perception. Matt Franciscovich does a lot of running back stuff. There are some guys who do a lot of different stats and analysis. I know Mike Clay does a whole like cornerback wide receiver analysis matchups.
Yeah.
My big thing, we're doing this segment a little bit called Doctor's Orders because I do have my PhD in communication and I wrote my dissertation on fantasy football. But if nothing else, the biggest advantage that I give myself is I try to consume as much material as possible to make my decisions on what I believe is going to happen in every game. So all that being said, I remember Matthew Berry talking about the fact that one time last season he was dealing with like a hip injury and they weren't sure if he was going to play. He did end up playing, but he was basically a decoy the entire game. So you run that, if he plays, you run that risk of him not really doing anything.
It's true. I feel good about Brandon Marshall being my flex. I feel good about even better about Brandon Marshall if OBJ is not playing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's I don't have any shares of OBJ in any league.
Actually, I don't think
I do. I've got OBJ.
I still think again.
So I've got to make a decision.
Worst case scenario, you miss one game, but especially because it's a Sunday night game. If all your other options are playing before Sunday, I would probably pay someone else.
Yeah.
In terms of the other fantasy relevant people, I mean, if you drafted Ezekiel Elliott in the 3rd round because you weren't sure what was going to happen, congratulations. At the very least, you get him for week 1. It's a tough matchup. The Giants easily have a top 5 defense.
Yeah.
I think this is for that reason, though. I think it's going to be a high scoring game. I think Dak is going to have a tough time in terms of passing, but I think he has such a potential and he's just so talented. I think he's going to have a solid game regardless.
Oh yeah.
I think Ezekiel Elliott, because of the line, I know they what's kind of been quietly not discussed is the fact that the Cowboys offensive line, while it's still good, has some holes in it. I know they said they talked about like not knowing who's going to be starting at left guard. I know Lael Collins is a solid left tackle, but they're moving him to right tackle, which sometimes is an issue, but he's actually left-handed. And apparently that's been like him learning the different movements and translating it from left side to right side has been not as easy as expected.
Wow.
So, but all those things being said, I still think he's going to have a solid game. Des Bryant has a real tough matchup with Janoris Jenkins. But I still think this is a pretty high scoring game. I think in terms of easiest matchups on the Cowboys side, Jason Witten.
Yeah.
There's been a couple on some
Old Trusty? Is that what you call
Old
it?
Trusty.
Old Trusty.
Dad runner Jason Witten. Like in some of my crazier lineups where I want to put as many stars on my like daily leagues on my tournament plays, I'll play Zach Ertz and my tight end and Jason Witten as my flex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because he tears up the Giants.
Jason Witten, regardless, will catch balls.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just what's going to happen.
Yeah. And so I think on the Giants side of the ball, if he's playing and you know, like let's say you do have like a Stephon Diggs or something for Monday night, or like Michael Thomas, or even if you have someone like Travis Benjamin who's going to be your like just in case, because honestly he wasn't in my sleepers, but I think Travis Benjamin could have a really nice game on Monday night. But if you don't have anybody like that, I would still play Odell Beckham if you don't have any other better options. But if you do have better options, I would hold off. If he's playing, you play him. If he doesn't play, you play somebody else. Brandon Marshall could still have a pretty nice game because the Cowboys, if Jalen Smith is even remotely close to what he was supposed to be before the injury, the combination of him and Sean Lee is solid for the Cowboys. The problem is they don't have much else outside of that. A lot of players are suspended. A lot of players are hurt. And they just haven't really addressed their cornerback position very much.
No, the secondary. George and I were talking about this. Secondary is just it's a trash fire out there.
Yeah, so I think they're going to be in a lot of shootouts, and so that's why I like Brandon Marshall. The other sleeper I have is the tight end for the Giants. I think Evan Engram. He is scary looking. He looks like he could be a real difference maker for the Giants. And a lot of people aren't talking about him. He is really athletic. He doesn't even really look like a tight end. He reminds me a little bit of Aaron Hernandez, but bigger.
Wow.
Because he's really fast, really athletic.
Did you just say raw?
I was going to say whoa, and then wow. It just came out row. I've never liked Eli Manning, but he has a good matchup. The only people that I am not sure what to do with are the running backs for the Giants. Who are they even? I don't even.
Paul Perkins.
I'm just kidding.
But Orleans Darkwa and Shane Vereen, and I don't know what to do with any of that. Nothing. I mean, Paul Perkins is supposed to be the starter, but he hasn't really shown very much. Shane Vereen, I think, is going to be maybe the more popular person that people are playing, especially in PPR. Yeah. But they're one team that I thought should have traded for somebody. Yeah. Like, I would have loved to have seen like a Jerick McKinnon on that team.
Dude. Yeah.
Even if they were to trade for someone like Jeremy Hill, who at least looks semi-good in the preseason, but I don't like any of those running backs in this game. I don't like them for the season. So I wouldn't play him in this game, but those are the starters that I would play. And I think I'd still feel, even though the Cowboys are going to be pretty productive, I still would feel okay starting the Giants defense.
Interesting.
All right.
My opinion on this game, as a Cowboy fan, is I think that if Dallas can get the run game going early and sustain it, it's just Dallas's game by far because they'll run the clock and that's all there is to it. But I mean, what you're saying about their offensive line, and I've heard that a lot, that their offensive line is not what it used to be, and because of that, that's going to determine what Zeke is going to do for you, or what Zeke isn't going to do for you, for that matter. So, it just depends. It really does. I really don't know what Cowboys I'm going to see, and as a fan, I do feel a little like, okay, if I see a good Cowboys team this week 1, I feel good about this team. If I don't, I'm gonna be nervous the whole season
The matchup
because
is tough, though, man.
Yeah, it is. It's a tough matchup.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: I think that offensively they have the talent to match up.
Yeah.
It's just a question of can you make things happen? Can the
it
momentum
really-
sail for you?
And can Marinelli? Can he put that defense together with the pieces that he doesn't really have?
Yeah. That's the other thing too.
I thought if I were them, I would have made. And granted, I don't know what their salary cap situation looks like, but I would have made a real strong push for like Joe Hayden when he hit the open market. I know he ended up signing with the Steelers, but I know even Des sent out like a tweet to him, like, "Hey man, come check us out."
Yeah. They're really hurting, especially in the secondary. It's just it's you can throw on them easy.
Yeah.
No problem. So
But it should be a good game.
Yeah, that being said, I am going to pick the Cowboys because I want to pick the Cowboys.
You know who the difference maker for me is? I think if OBJ plays, I think the Giants win.
Yeah.
Even if he's a decoy man, I just think he just changes the field. And I think the Giants defense does okay against Dallas offense, but the Giants offense just takes it.
Even though he's in the family league, that's what got him first.
Yep.
And I hope he doesn't play, but I do and I don't. God bless me. God bless me. All right, I think you guys want to take a pick on who's going to win this game.
Right now, knowing what I know, I think the Cowboys pull it off.
Yeah,
I think for them, I think Ezekiel makes a difference.
I have to agree with you there.
I think he's going to play all out because he doesn't know when he's.
He doesn't know when
again.
he's going to come back.
I think if OBJ plays the Giants.
All right, so
For
we got
sure.
Art me with the Cowboys and down with the Giants. Let's see how we do. All right, let's move on to everybody's-
Two Monday night games.
Yeah, Monday night games. 2 Monday night games. Are they playing them staggered? How are they doing
Yeah,
this?
back to back.
Back to
so
back.
they'll start the first one way earlier than usual. I think it starts at like 5 or 5:30.
I'm not even home yet.
Yeah. So and then the next one's, I feel bad for all the people on the East Coast because the second one starts at like 8.
So that's like 10.
Mountain.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about the first game. Let's talk about the Saints and the Vikings. How do you guys feel about the Saints and my boy Drew Brees?
I think it's going to be another high scoring game.
Yeah.
I think the Vikings is a solid defense, except for they only have one solid cornerback, and he's kind of old. No, yeah, they have one really good, like an elite cornerback in Xavier Rhodes.
Yeah.
They have a solid guy who somehow is still playing at 39, and then they got trash behind that. So I think that means that Michael Thomas might have a rough game. I think Ted Ginn might have. That means Ted Ginn has a pretty solid game.
Yeah.
With Willie Snead out, I think Kobe Fleener could be someone interesting in terms of tight ends.
Dude, there's a stat, and I wish I knew the exact numbers, but I think it was last year. Every time Snead was out, Kobe Fleener just went through the roof, just took off.
Yeah. So the one thing that the thing I'm very interested to see is what happens with those running backs. Is Adrian Peterson going to emerge as like the primary back, and they're going to use Mark Ingram more like they use Pierre Thomas. And how are they going to use Alvin Kamara? Like, I just don't know what they're going to do.
And I think that's the more likely scenario. I think they're going to take a gamble on
Peterson.
Adrian Peterson. Yeah.
I think Ingram gets the first shot. I think he gets the first carries, and if he's not successful, they're just switching back.
They're going to switch back.
Yeah.
Well, Mark Ingram, for me, I drafted him, I think, last year, and he produced.
I mean, that's the thing is like a
yeah.
lot, especially in the fantasy community, that people wonder like, what do they have against Mark Ingram? Because it always feels like they're trying to do something different or try something different when
Maybe
he's
they feel like he's
really
just
successful.
not the guy,
Yeah.
and he is pretty successful.
Yeah.
Like,
I do see Peterson getting goal line carries just
That-
against his
yeah,
old team.
absolutely.
Yeah, big time.
so that being said, who do you guys have? The Saints or the
Wait,
Vikings?
hold on. Before we get
you
into
go
that,
on, yeah.
the Viking side of the ball, I love Stephon Diggs in this game. I
Yeah.
love Kyle Rudolph in this game because even though the Saints have been playing a little bit better in the preseason, I like both of them a lot. I also really like Dalvin Cook.
okay.
He's really emerged as like the primary guy there. I'm a little nervous because they paid Latavius Murray that they give him more carries than he's worth. But I think more than anything, it's going to be a really fun Monday night game. Both of them, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say, where are they playing? They're playing at Minnesota. I say that gives them a little bit of an edge. I'll go with the Vikings.
I'm going with the Saints.
Saints.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Drew Brees.
I like Drew Brees. Period. Yeah. Sorry, buddy.
All right. We'll see.
We'll see. We shall see. That takes us to the next game, and the Chargers versus the Broncos. Did I hear this right? Brock Osweiler is back
He
with
is
the
back
Broncos?
for the league minimum.
Wow.
They were
Like all that garbage about going somewhere else, and then all of a sudden he's back.
And everyone's praising John Elway like he's the smartest man alive. When he was like, you seen that gif of like the little girl in black and white throwing cash out the window? They were doing that to Brock before he signed with the Texans. And they reached up for Paxton Lynch, who has looked like basura. I think he is one of the most overrated GMs in the league. He basically
Easily.
bought his Super Bowl ring
Yeah,
by
he
getting. He
did.
bought Peyton Manning, Emmanuel Sanders, Aqib Talib, T.J. Ward. He bought a Super Bowl ring. In terms of drafting, he had the second overall pick his first year as a GM and got Von Miller. Aside from that, he has not drafted well. Like the year they went to the Super Bowl and lost to the Seahawks, it was Noshawn Moreno, Demaryius Thomas, Eric Decker, and Julius Thomas. Who drafted all those people? Josh McDaniels.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Man.
I'm just mad because he let go of Tebow. That's it. That's it.
You're still salty on that Tebow stuff, aren't you?
Every year I'll make him on Madden because he's my boy. All right. Let's get to the game.
Let's get to the game.
So the Chargers at the Broncos. Everyone always talks about the Broncos defense. The Chargers, they have Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram.
Yeah.
The only defensive end duos that are probably better are Jadeveon Clowney and J.J. Watt. Their cornerbacks, Jason Verrett, and I'm forgetting the other guy, but solid. I mean, really, really good.
Too many pumpkin
Too many pumpkin muffins.
muffins.
I can't think straight. Casey Hayward.
Hey, there it
Casey
is.
Hayward. That's all I needed.
That's all you needed.
I knew it the whole time. I just wanted to see you struggle with it.
I think they have a real solid defense, so I'm curious to see how this game goes because Jason Verrett got hurt last season, but now he's back. So if you got Jason Verrett on Demaryius Thomas and Casey Hayward on Emmanuel Sanders, I'm just curious to see who is going to find success on the Broncos. I still don't know which tight end they're starting. I know they have Virgil Green, they have Jeff Heuerman. I really like A.J. Derby. He was a guy that looked really good last season during the preseason with the Patriots, and then they traded him to the Broncos. I like him a lot, but I don't know if they're going to use him as a starter.
They've got to find somebody to refill that Julius Thomas role, man.
And then I actually could see, because Melvin Ingram and Joey Bosa kind of play similarly, where instead of coming straight at the linemen, they kind of go around. I could see them having I could see C.J. Anderson actually having a nice game in this game. And then for the Chargers, I like Phillip Rivers, even though it's a tough matchup. I like Hunter Henry more than anybody else, especially now that they don't. The Broncos don't have T.J. Ward. But I'm nervous about Keenan Allen. I'm nervous
Don't tell me,
about
man.
Tyrell Williams.
Keenan Allen's coming out this game.
But I mean, it's a tough matchup.
Yeah, I know.
More than I think Hunter Henry, and like I was gonna say, I was talking about earlier. I think Travis Benjamin might have a nice game. I think they might just send him out there and just. I think he might, like the whole Marquise Goodwin thing I was talking about. I think he might be one of the only guys, who's not being covered by like a really solid cornerback.
All right, man.
And Melvin Gordon, I mean, it's a tough matchup, but I mean, you cannot not start him.
Yeah. I'm starting him. And I might regret it, but of course. But I just love Keenan Allen so much, man, and
Yeah.
I'm starting him. Like
I am praying and hoping he stays
I'm emotional
healthy.
about this one. I'm not even being logical about it. I'm starting him.
All right. Well, at least you're honest about being emotional about
Yeah, of
it
course.
all.
Yeah,
You know.
I'm an emotional guy, man. You guys
Well,
know this.
We all know that.
I cry at least.
That's why I lose all my fantasy because I'm emotional about these things, man.
Oh,
my god.
Mr. Tyreek Hill.
Oh, I'm gonna lose my week playing against Tyreek Hill.
All of a sudden, this game is a game, guys.
Yep. It's going to be 21 to
This game is a
17.
game. All right. So,
All right,
who do we have?
I will say I go with the Chargers in this
I go with
matchup.
the Chargers too.
You know what? I was going to say the same thing. I think I'm going to go with the
The
Chargers.
more and more I'm thinking about it, now granted, the Chiefs are looking pretty solid right now. But all that being said, I think health is the biggest factor here. But if right now the Chargers' entire team stays healthy, they are the best team in that division, even beyond the Raiders.
Wow.
They look good,
Because
man.
their defense is much better than the Raiders.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's,
I like it.
let's see how that turns out for you, man.
Right.
All right. We're going to move on. And since we don't have a drop for this, I'm just going to make one up.
All right. Make
You
one
were
up.
supposed
That's
to
it.
make a drop.
Sing one. Doctor's orders.
Doctor,
Doctor, give me the news. I got a bad case of loving you.
Dang, that was good.
Oh, that was good.
Oh.
Man. My wife is laughing in the corner like, where did that come from?
Is that the sultry voice she gets every night? My
Every
goodness.
night, buddy.
All right.
Every night.
My bad.
I can't see her. Is she laughing her ass off?
yeah,
She's
just shaking. She's shaking her head.
Well, that's
the normal look that I
that's
see
the
from her.
normal
Yeah.
look that you see from her.
More often than not, when Fernie says something, I just see Chrissy smiling and just
yes.
shaking her
She
head.
usually has a face palm going
Yeah.
too. All right,
But
doctor's
anyway.
orders. Tell me
So,
about the doctor's
for-
orders. What are we doing?
Because I love playing daily fantasy, and if DraftKings would like to sponsor us, I think that would be amazing because I only play on DraftKings.
Only.
My top players that I love playing for this week, at QB, I love Marcus Mariota this week.
All right.
That Raiders secondary is bad. It's real bad. I don't think a lot of people are talking about that either because their offense is solid, but they have some pretty bad holes on their defense, and I think it's going to be like a breakout party for Marcus Mariota. He has looked really solid this preseason. He has the best offensive weapons he's ever had. He's got 2 solid running backs.
Yeah.
I think he has a real nice game this week.
I love
I
it.
talked about him before. Running back Tevin Coleman. A lot of Tevin Coleman this week. For wide receiver, I like Torrey Smith. I have 2 at tight end. I got Delaney Walker, and I like Nick Boyle, like I mentioned before.
All right.
And for defense, I love the Falcons. Like I said, I think in terms of game script, I think the Falcons are just going to score a ton of points. I think Mike Glennon at a certain point is going to just try to pass a ton to catch up, and he's going to make some mistakes. He's going to get sloppy. I could see them getting a pick 6 easy in this game. So in terms of that leads us to our next segment.
Well,
Wait, hold on.
Hold on, go ahead.
The way that Art's doing this, though, I mean, if you look at the salary requirements for these players, that leaves you so much space to get guys like
Because you still
Le'Veon
have
Bells.
that means you still
and-
have another running back.
Oh yeah.
You have at least one more running back, one more wide receiver, and a flex that you could start. And that means you could pay up at all 3 positions based on these players. And you, I mean, that you could literally get 2 star running backs and
Yeah.
a good wide receiver.
Genius, man. I like the way you're
Listen,
doing
guys, this is why we call it doctor's orders because the doctor knows how to give the orders. Like, we ought to call this like the prescription section, too.
Ooh, I like that.
Oh yeah, that
You
is
know?
good. Yeah,
that-
the
that-
RX.
The RX.
Damn.
RX. Doctor's orders. So that's doctor's orders. Now moves us on to the next segment.
Stacks on stack of the week.
Yeah.
Wait, okay, we gotta make that a job, and it just gotta be you saying
Just
it.
me.
Go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Go.
Stacks on stack of the week.
Yeah.
Okay, so for those who don't know, when you stack players in daily fantasy, that means you're getting players from the same team and playing them to take advantage of the points that they will be scoring. So, for example, let's say if the Steelers were playing at home against the Browns, because I don't like their secondary, I would suggest stacking in that instance if you could fit them all in. Ben Roethlisberger, Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown, and Martavis Bryant. You would have to go super cheap at all
yeah.
your other positions. But I could see all 4 of those players having just insane games if they were playing in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Similarly, and there's different ways you can do it. It can be it's usually either the quarterback and a wide receiver, a quarterback and a tight end, or it's a running back and a defense. So my favorite stacks for this week are Marcus Mariota and Delaney Walker, or Marcus Mariota and Eric Decker. I like those 2 stacks. This isn't mine, but one of the more common ones you're hearing in the fantasy community is Carson Palmer and Larry Fitzgerald.
Okay. I like it.
But the second one that I like a lot, and again, I've already talked about it like 3 times, Tevin Coleman and the Falcons.
The Falcons defense.
The Falcons defense. I think that's my favorite one of the week. I really do think the Falcons are going to get up big in this game. Even though the Bears have a solid front 7, their secondary really is really bad. And I could see them putting up 21 points. I could see it being 21 to like 6.
Yeah.
And Mike Lennon just doing whatever he can to try to catch up and just that leading to an interception. And then just using Tevin Coleman to drain the clock.
And dude, the way that you've done this, I mean, you could probably get all 4 of these. You could probably get Mariota, Walker, Coleman, Falcons, and still fit in.
Yeah.
Some elite guys.
Yeah.
I love it, man.
That's great.
Yeah.
I'm going to try it out.
So we're going to try all of these. And
If I win big money, do I owe you any, though? Like, honestly.
all of it.
No. there has to be some kind of disclaimer, right?
Like
Where's the contract?
I was going to say, if we win the Millionaire Maker, I mean, all 3 of us are quitting our jobs.
That's it. Yeah.
All
we love our
we love
We
our
love our
jobs.
jobs, but if we have money, there's no
of
reason to
course.
have the jobs.
Yeah, of course. Because I wouldn't want somebody who didn't have money to not have a job.
Right.
That's so that of course.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So that's living in fiction for the week.
Yeah, good luck to you in your first week. I hope everybody wins.
Hope you're not playing against stupid Tyreek Hill.
And we just saw Amendola get murdered.
Ay.
Look at this. Wait.
But
hold
like
on.
always, dude.
Always.
Always. Come on.
He's just rugged.
that guy just cannot stay up.
Man, I don't know
understanding
what
that.
kind of I don't know
Look at
how
this.
good
Here
of
we
an
go.
idea
Here we
this
go.
was. And people are just gonna hear that. Oh, and they're like, "What are you guys watching?"
I went to prom.
Oh,
Wait for this.
we're going back.
No. I don't think was it prom? It might have been prom. Could have been
Did you
home-
go to all your proms or just senior prom? Is it senior prom?
No, I went to all my proms. But I think this was senior homecoming.
Oh, okay.
I asked a girl who I had no business asking because she was way out of my league.
Stop it. You
But
stop
she
it right
said
now. No
right
such thing.
now.
She said yes.
That's why you had to stop it right now.
Yeah. But anyway, so now fast forward, she has a son, and we're friends on Facebook and Instagram. And I was looking, and she's like, "Oh, here's my son. I forget his name, with Uncle Danny, and it's Danny Amendola. So her baby's daddy is Danny Amendola's brother.
Wow. You couldn't have just stayed friends with her, dude.
We're still
You know?
friends. I mean, we're not friends like, hey, can you introduce me to Danny Amendola?
I only took you out to what, Olive Garden that night. Come on.
That ought to give me something.
You know we went to Michelina's that night.
Oh, what?
Oh, that's right. Rest in
Michelina's
peace.
was, yeah, rest in peace,
Rest in
Michelina's.
peace.
That's my place.
IP. So
Uncle Danny.
yeah,
Uncle Danny.
Uncle Danny. Well, that being said, that's our show.
That's it.
That's our
Thank
show.
you all for listening. Again,
Guys.
subscribe. Tell your friends to subscribe.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing this every single week.
every single week. And also be sure to check out our website, www.crowdintown.creative.com. We are an, what do you call us? A social media, multimedia consulting agency. We've got some content coming out here pretty soon.
Yeah.
I saw an interesting post from our boy at Active Chiropractic that he got to do the Guns N' Roses show.
Yeah, that was really cool.
That was really cool. He
Awesome.
got to massage some Slash neck.
Oh, no way.
Hey.
Cool.
I don't know. I think he did.
Probably.
Probably.
Awesome.
Wow.
Hey, or he got to.
I hope he didn't wash those hands. Rub some of that off on me.
Man.
Jeez.
Yeah. You know what? I've heard nothing but good things about this show too, and I didn't go because I don't really care about that band.
So bad.
They played for like 4 hours.
Yeah, I know, man. They're old. I'm impressed.
I love my
Anyway.
wife, but if we hadn't gotten married this summer, I would have been at that show, man.
No.
Because woo, paying for that wedding. We are paying for that wedding.
Yeah. Yeah. Good luck with that.
I can only say that because she's not gonna listen to this. Like,
Nice.
you're not gonna-
Nice. This is the one show she's gonna listen to.
I know, right?
Watch, and then next week it's just gonna be me and Art, and there gonna be no Dan.
Yeah.
My wedding was the best night of my life. Okay,
That's
let's
true.
just
Whatever
it
you
was
remember
awesome.
of it, it was
But
good.
if I could have seen Slash play the guitar,
And dude, that's all he did apparently. Every song there was like a Slash solo.
That's awesome. So our boy Mike at Active got to do some really cool stuff
Yeah.
for this show. So anyway, be
Good
sure
luck
to
to you
check
this
out.
week. Check us out next week as well. Go look at our Instagram. I'm on Twitter. I already gave that out at ArtaGatorLIF. And find us on Facebook.
Yeah. We have 7 likes, so we want to get that up to a little
7
bit more.
likes.
7 likes.
Come on.
Yeah,
You guys got
can do
this.
it. Yeah, you got it.
All right.
All right, guys. That's
Good
our
luck.
show. Good luck, everybody.
All right.
Talk to you soon. You
Yeah.
can start whenever you want.
Oh, I've been needed to. I need a transient.
You need a transient.
Yeah.
Like a homeless person?
Yeah. Like, what do
No.
you need a transient for? Like,
Wait, is it called It's
a
transient.
transition.
No, like a big loud pop. It's a transient.
Is that what it is? I've never heard it called that, and I've been in this business for some time now.
You guys are something else. Let me look this. I'm gonna look this up. Transient.
Like a homeless person? I mean, we can go get you a homeless person if you want.